So what do you get today?
Golden toy.
Alright, now how did you pick that up?
I went through this book, I looked at it, I had to have it.
You had to
Right
have
here, I
it?
bought it right here on my
Right
neck.
on your neck?
Right on my neck.
The neck? Are you serious?
Gotta have the neck.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this. I'm ready.
So, getting ready to put a stencil on here. We're going to be working on a koi fish that's got some couple skulls in it, some waves, a little orb, that type of thing. We're going to do it on the side of his neck. So what I want to do before I get to setting up the machines is use a product called Stencil Stuff that I like to use when I can't afford to lose the stencil. A lot of times I'll just spray some green soap on or whatever and stick the stencil on if it's going to be a quick job. But if I really have to have my stencil stay, I like to use the Stencil Stuff just so that as we keep going, you know, the neck kind of gets a little tough to work on. It's a little messier sometimes, and I get to wiping at it and stuff, then it's not going to end up destroying my stencil before I get a chance to get the parts in it that I want. So you just put a little bit of that on there, and we try to lay it in. And I mean, obviously it's a tough spot. This ain't the easiest of locations to tattoo, lay the stencil in, or anything, but usually once you throw that Stencil Stuff on there, as soon as it touches it and you peel it back, voila.
Boom.
With the Stencil Stuff though, the difference that I find is it takes a little longer to dry. If you don't let it dry, you get to wiping it, it'll actually wipe off faster than green soap. So that's why I put it on first. Now I'll get over here and start setting up some machines and get ready to get going. By the time I'm done with the machine setup, we should be good to go. Okay, so I guess I'll go with Danny Fowler Millennium Clone. This one's one of the originals. As you can see, that was made in the year 2000. Yes, I. That's some of that Y2K. And I'm torn between my Mickey Sharps or my G2. It's black and gray. It's a neck. This hits a little softer. I may not want to go with the Mickey Sharps on that. That's more like little supple forearm skin. Sometimes the neck catches more abuse because it sees more sun. So I'm gonna go with my G2. It tends to push, you know, larger mags a little better. And for some of the tighter spots, I believe I'm gonna go with my Invader shader, also a Danny Fowler machine. So I guess this is gonna be some exclusively Danny Fowler stuff here today. From Cam Supply, we're gonna bust out some 7 Magnums. This is the straight mags with the long taper needles in it. I believe I'm going to go with a 7-round, super tight 7-round. Gives me a nice feel like I'm using a loose 5, but it just packs it in there a little denser. The 13 mag, this is going to be my curved 13 mag. Because we got some background to do on this, and I don't want to be sitting there all day with a 7 mag trying to drill in some background wind bars and waves and stuff. So obviously in the more detailed portions of it, we're going in with the smaller needle grouping. As we get to some of the larger areas that I want to cover faster, we're going to go in with the 13. And Brian again here at Intimate Body Art Studios. We're about to start a koi fish skull piece on this cat's neck. Looks like we're just going to rip into it. It's black and gray basically. It's got an orb in the middle. We'll probably put some color in or something just to spice it up. I think what we're going to get you to do, this is going to be your pillow. This is our half paper towel pillow. And so what we're trying to get you to do is keep your neck stretched in that direction. And it's much easier to do when it's not just air over there. And that'll kind of, you know, it'll be a crushed up, balled up, useless paper towel roll by the time we're done with it, but that'll make both of our jobs a lot easier. Black and gray, of course, I'm using my talons for my dark blacks and my outlines, and then we're going to go in with some Silverback original gray wash set to try to take care of the rest of it. So let's dry this in here and see how he feels here from the beginning. Delicious, ain't it?
Oh yeah.
Got my 7-round in right now because I'm doing kind of the outside borders. Some of the stuff is a little thicker. When I get into the scale work, what I'm probably going to end up doing is I'll just switch out my 7-round for a super tight 5, which will give us a slightly tighter, cleaner look. That way it'll give a little bit more interest to the piece where you have varying thicknesses and line work and stuff. And then secondarily, it's going to give me a little more control in there for some of that tighter scale work. And who would have thought you were going to have to go through all this when you first stepped in the shop today? This is one of those pieces that you can't really tell whether it's traditional, whether it's new school, whether it's whatever. So I actually didn't even bring the reference material back in here. I'm just going to outline it up and try to see if we can make it look as good as we can. That way, even though it was chosen from a reference, he's not going to end up with the exact same thing that somebody else that might have seen that same reference walked out with. So I've had this machine since 2000. I think I've only changed the spring out on it one time, and it still runs flawlessly. I mean, that's the original contact screw, everything. Okay, so this might be the last line I'm using this 7 round on. I think I'll switch over to the 5 after this, knock out them scales, and that should be all of the outline.
Starting to look like a tattoo to me.
Okay, so as you can see, it does all fit. I know you were kind of concerned with that. All right, so I basically switched out my 7 round for my super tight 5 round, again from Cam Supply. The reason I did that is because I got to get in here into some of these little tight scale pattern pieces, and it's just going to give me just a little finer, crisper line, and there's going to be a little bit more control with the tips of my needles. Getting into a tighter space, I kind of like a tighter needle grouping. It's not going to make a big, huge visual difference, but it'll be enough to keep it interesting where you'll have some varying line thicknesses along with, you know, just the shading portion of it. Oh shit, it looks like we are just about ready to give this man a little break. Not too bad. And like I said, it looks like that shape really fits the area pretty well. Take care of all the places that are either really dark as far as what they were supposed to be color-wise, or have a heavy shadowing, deep recesses, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's getting
close up.
That's getting tight on him right there. I'm getting ready to work on some larger areas of shading, so I switched to my 13 mag.
Ah, that's a little bit fatter.
Since I'm doing some wind bars in the background, I want to be able to cover a little more area a little more quickly. And it's actually, it's round as opposed to flat. As far as the top, it's curved, kind of like a fingernail. And it gives me softer edges. I don't end up with as scratchy a look. These are relatively rigid in comparison to some other needle groupings that I have worked with. And, you know, for me, it gives me a little bit more control and precision. Now, sometimes I do like them a little more flexible when I'm trying to give it a softer, more brushed out feel. And so it really just depends on what the piece is that I'm working on at the time as to what my preference would be. I know there's a lot of motherfuckers come in here. They want crazy work all on rib cage and neck and all this type of stuff. And they have these really big, grandiose ideas as to what they're going to get done. And you get about 5 or 10 minutes into it, and they can't really take it. And so it's like, you know, dude, how do you expect to get a good job out of me if I can't get you to sit still enough where I can do a good job for you? Fortunately, we're not having that problem right now, because I definitely know that we
He's an animal and shit.
in here sitting like a goddamn tank.
That man is determined to get his back there. He's like, I'm getting this shit done.
Hell yeah.
I'm getting it in.
Yeah, man, this ain't exactly my typical style of black and gray, but I'm kind of digging it now and playing with it, you know what I mean? Usually I get my black and gray shader going, I'm trying to be as photorealistic as I can possibly be, and this is definitely not that. The idea is to be more stylized and what have you, and it's actually pretty cool. It's a nice little change of pace in what I normally put myself in a position to do a lot. Get you to lean your head back a little bit, because now we gotta go up the front set of waves and skull. Had to take a break because that phone rang, but we're gonna get in, color in this sphere and this eye, and we'll throw a couple highlights in it, and we should be about finished up here. This is just to give it a little extra pop. We're gonna do this, throw a little bit of white highlighting in on certain areas we want to bring out after we knock this part of it out, and that should have this man ready to go home. I'm sure he's tired of being up under my needle by this point. Because I'm looking at the eyes and the skulls, and they have some up top, some up bottom, and it's not much, but it's enough where it'll kind of contrast him out. But that's just a little something, something to make you kind of look twice, like, hey, is that red? Like all that's left is white highlighting. People hate white, and they all go, oh, the white hurts the most. It doesn't really, it's just that it's typically last. And so what happens is, in your mind, you're already complete. You don't really need white. But white is one of the things that once you put it in, you're like, oh yeah, it did need that. But just to think about it ahead of time, it's like, why the fuck do I need white? Jump on this. This is all specifically dots for real. This is actual dots. Fortunately, we're almost done because it's looking like he might be pretty close to hitting that brick wall as to his tolerance. So far, though, I only see one missed dot, so we might be basically done here besides that.
This one micro dot.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I think that should about get. And now he's not bleeding, so you can actually see his yellow. Okay, so now what you're gonna wanna do is I'm gonna give you this mirror over here. We'll let you hit the next station. You'll wanna turn your neck and then look at the mirror with this.
Okay.
Sweet as shit. I like it. Perfect.
I hope you like
What
it because it's on there now, so if you don't like it, then we're kind of screwed.
We can't erase it. We can't erase it. You like it?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.